So I had planned to show you how to create an awesome order form for a chocolate company. I took my time, I put some thought into it, and I came up with this. And then I totally got flexed on by one of my students. Yes, I know what flexing means. One of my students was able to create an order form that is 10 times better than mine. I'll explain why it is so much better, and I'll show you how to create an Excel order form that is great like this one. I will even show you a secret function he added that would be a game changer for you if you are ever creating an order form yourself. So before we get started, notice what my student did with the column width. He kind of optimized them for this main part of the order form, and that makes sense because this is where we are putting in all of our information. So he optimized the column width for this, and you'll notice that columns A and G are symmetrical, so let's start there. So first we'll adjust the widths of column A and G and just make sure they're the same size. So to do that, you would click on both column A, and then I'm going to hold down Control key on my keyboard, and then click G, and just this way we can make these columns symmetrical and the exact same size. So I'm going to change the widths to size 16.5, so column width. We'll change it from the default 8.43 and change it to 16.5, and then we'll press OK. And then B, I'm going to make a little bit bigger as well. I'm just kind of estimating the size. This isn't an exact size but it's fairly similar. So the column width is 13, and C, it was a lot bigger. It's about double that size, and even more so. So I'm going to change that to about 32. Press OK. I'm going to leave D, column D, the exact same size. The more that you can sort of just leave it the default size is best. And then we've got column E, which is a little bit bigger. So I'll make this 22. We'll press OK, and then F will do a little bit smaller than that. So we'll make this one, let's say 19.5. Okay, so now that we've got sort of our column widths adjusted, now we can start formatting our worksheet and adding some color to it. Now we'll adjust the size of row 1. So if you can highlight that row and then just pull down, you can do it that way. You can do it the way that I showed you in how to adjust the column widths as well using the format drop arrow. But you can also just kind of eyeball it here and just kind of pick the size you want. I'm going to change it to 36 in height, just to make it a lot bigger for our main title. And then with the columns A to G selected, I want to merge and center the big title, which is the company name. So I'm going to say merge and center, and then I'm going to start typing in here. And then once I've got that there, I'm going to press enter. And you'll notice that it's centered this way, but it's not right in the middle. So if I want this in the middle of the cell, I'm going to click middle align in the alignment group, and that's a great way to sort of build around a title. And then I'm obviously going to make this huge. So I'm going to, let's say, we should make this really big, 26 font. And then I'll show you how fonts work. So if we use the Calibri one, like the Calibri Light or the Calibri in the body of the text, now this is a heading, so I should change it to this one. If you use those two options, if we go to change the theme later, like if we're playing around with design themes, if I go to change that theme later, the font will change with the theme. So if I find themes that I like this one in the organic, that's why it's better to keep it on a theme font. If you choose something down here that's like its own font, it's not going to change when you change the theme. So if you're designing this and you're not sure about the design, you don't have a favorite font picked yet, I would choose one of the theme fonts that are chosen, and then that way if you kind of experiment with the different themes, you can see which ones you like and things like that based on the theme, and you don't have to sort of adjust the font later. So just an idea there. So now I'll start typing in the address and the email or the website for this company, and I just want you to recognize what happens when we do the merge across versus merge and center. So when we're merging cells, what happens to the alignment of the text when we merge and center versus merging across. So I'll continue typing this website, for the company. And then we're going to merge both sets of cells. So I'm going to merge this cell, and I'm going to choose merge across, and you see that the font stays on the left, and if I do it again, it's going to align the text on the left. So if you want to merge cells and then move the text alignment to the left, you would choose the merge across option. But in this example, in this cell, I'm going to actually right align the text because it sort of makes sense to push the text to either side of the worksheet. So now we're going to go over cell fill colors and also text fill colors. I'm going to highlight row 1 and 2 and choose a standard blue, and that's what that would look like. And just to let you know, just like font, the theme colors, if you choose one of these, it can change with the theme. So if you're open to the color changing, if you change the theme style, that can change. But the standard blue, if you really like this blue and you don't want it to change, you would choose the standard blue. And just like the text fill color, so this is the text, I'm going to choose the theme color white, and that'll allow the color to change if I choose a different theme. And then I'm going to bold the heading, and then we'll move on to our next step. So now we'll create kind of a section heading for this worksheet, and we're going to do that in row 3. So I'm going to highlight row 3 and then just make it a little bit bigger. So to do that, you can pull down at the bottom of the row, or you can go to the format drop arrow and choose row height and just kind of type in a bigger row height. I'm going to choose about 26.25 and then press OK, and then it's going to expand, and now I have room to put a section heading. So I'm going to merge and center this so the text goes right in the center, and I'm going to type in order form. I'm also going to change the vertical alignment to middle align. So it looks like this, and then I'm going to up the font to 18 points. Now I'm going to show you how to create your own custom color. So if I choose the cell fill, and then notice that I can't find a brown that I want. So I have to go to more colors and then choose the custom tab. And from here, we're going to access the RGB color model, in which each color is expressed with varying intensities of red, green, and blue. So the RGB color values are often represented as a set of numbers in the format red, green, blue, where red is the intensity value assigned to red light, green light, and blue. So it's measured in intensity on a scale of 0 to 255. And if I play around with the settings, I can finally get the exact brown that I want. So I probably spent way too much time experimenting with these colors, but if you play around with the numbers, you can kind of reach a color of your choosing and create kind of your own custom color, which is nice. So what I've realized, if you lower the red intensity by about half and then lower the intensity of green and have no intensity of blue, you can kind of find a nice like chocolate colored brown somewhere in there. So that's what my custom color would look like, and I'll click OK once I'm happy with that, and this is what that would look like. So I'll change the text color to white, and when you're creating your order form, make sure that if you have a dark background, use light text, or vice versa, so the text stands out. So instead of repeating those same steps over and over again for 2 other sections, I'm going to merge and center row 7 and then type in this section header, and then I'm going to show you how to use the format painter that'll help you save time if you have kind of similar looking sections to your order form. So I'm going to merge and center this, middle align it, and then what I'm going to do is highlight row 3 and then click Format Painter and just click on the merged row 7, and the formatting gets kind of copied over to row 7. Let's try it again. So I'll merge and center row 12, and then I'll type in the section header name. So this is that section header name, the order form or order details summary, and now I can highlight row 7, click Format Painter, and then click row 12, and the same format gets copied over to row 12. So now I'm going to show you how to add custom borders to your order form. So I'll type in this section here in the order form sheet, and then I'll highlight the 2 sections here, and then I'll go to the border options. I'm going to go to more borders because I want to add some color to this. So I want the border option, I want the outline, and then the color to be the recent color brown that I used. So I'm going to choose the brown at the bottom, and then I'm going to use the outline and inside, which would be the same as all, but the custom border options let me choose a color with my border options, which your default border options would not. So again, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to merge and center these cells here so that I've got a lot of room to type in the order date, purchase ID, and things like that. So I'm going to merge and center all of these cells, and then I'll add a border to these ones once they're merged. so that we have some space to type in these. And then I'm just going to do the same options, outline and inside. So I'm going to add both, and then with the color brown, and do the same thing here. So now when I go click on the border icon, it's going to bring me to this custom border options. I'm going to choose inside, outside, and then the custom brown color as well. And oops, I forgot to do the outside part for that one. So outside and inside. So that's how you would add color to your border options. And now I'm just going to take these two sections here and just sort of use the same style from the heading with a standard blue cell fill and a white text fill. And in this section, I just kind of repeat the same steps, you know, merge and center, use the blue cell fill, white text, and merge and center these cells so we can enter information in. And that's how I completed the delivery details section. So now I'm going to show you an Excel feature that will allow you to keep text within a column. It'll move the text on to multiple lines within a column without going outside of the column. So let's say I want to reserve column B for typing in numbers, but I don't want this text to go into column B and cover that. So the way you would do that is just highlight this A14 cell and then click wrap text in the alignment group, and that's how you would move text onto different lines in a cell. And from here I'm just going to merge and center these two rows so that I can have this total charge before taxes option as well. Now we'll just kind of merge cells and then add the similar borders that we did in the order forms section. So we're going to use that custom brown color and then use the outside and inside border options, and now it'll look like this. So now I'm going to create a structured range by increasing the size of row 16, and then I'm going to type in headings. This is going to look like table headings, but I'm not going to turn this into a table because I don't need all of the table features. I just want kind of a structured range here. So the first one is product ID, description, we want the quantity, we also want the price, and also what the total is when we multiply the quantity and the price. So you'll notice that I centered the text and also middle aligned it, and I'm also going to change the fill and the fill color of the background, or the fill color of the cell, and also the fill color of the text, and then kind of increase the text size as well. And then I'll add some borders just like we did in our last few sections. I'll just use the custom black border. We don't always have to use the brown one that we chose. And then I'll also create some borders in here so that we can sort of know where we're typing our numbers, or product ID, description, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to take this all the way down to rows, I think row 34, and then add a border, and I'll just choose the all border option, and that's what that would look like. And then I'm going to add some more border lines sort of at the bottom here. So I'm going to highlight rows 33 to 35 in column B. I'm going to merge and center them, and then I'll merge and center these rows as well, I believe, and then we'll add some borders around that section. This is where our if function is going to go, so that's where that magical function is going to go, and I'll explain what the if function is in a little bit. But now we're going to add, do the same thing. We're going to create kind of a section here. We don't actually need borders on in column E here, but we do need borders at the bottom of column F. So I'll highlight the last three rows in column F here, and then use the same kind of borders, the all borders option, and that's what that would look like. So now we'll just kind of enter text in there and values just to see if this works for us, just as an example. But if you were creating a template, you'd probably want to not do this, but I thought it would make our order form look a little authentic if it had real values in there. So in the structured range for the values in column E and the values in column F, let's say I want to use a currency format, which will place the $ right next to the number. So I'll choose that one. I'll choose the currency format under the drop arrow. And if I choose currency, this is what that would look like. And this is what the accounting format would look like. So the accounting format, the $ will be at the very left of the cell. So it's a little bit different, looks a little bit different stylistically, and you'll see what that looks like when we add up our numbers. So now we'll put our first calculation in cell F17, and we'll do equal, and then we'll get the cell price, so the E17 multiplied, so that little star symbol on our keyboard, multiplied by cell D17, and that's the number we get. And then I'm just going to copy this formula down by choosing the autofill handle and dragging it down to the other cells. And you can see it worked. And now in these cells, we're going to type in sort of what we need to see at the end of this order form. So the subtotal, or the number before tax. We also want the tax rate here, and then the grand total after taxes are added. So to get the subtotal, we're going to type in equal, and then it's the sum, and then open bracket. And we'll just highlight this whole range in case that if we add numbers later. And then we'll close the bracket and press enter. And then we're left with $104.70. And now we have to enter our tax rate. So I'm going to format this cell with the percentage style. And then I want 2 decimal places to show. It's not going to show right away when I enter it. So to do that, to show decimal places, you can go to the number formatting and then increase decimal. I'm going to do that twice. And then it's going to show 5.20 as a percentage. And then I'm going to use that cell reference and multiply it by the subtotal. So in the tax cell here, I'm going to type equal the subtotal and then multiplied by the tax rate in this cell. Okay, and then I'm going to click enter. It's going to come up with the tax, and then I'm going to add these 2 cells together, the subtotal and the tax, for the grand total charge. And now you can see it's $110.14. Now we also want to show in this cell how many items were ordered. So to do that, we would do the equal sum, we'll do open bracket, and then we'll highlight column D in the structured range, and then we'll close the brackets and press enter, and that will give us our total number of items ordered. In F13, I want a reference to F33, so I'll type in equal F33 and then just press enter, and now I've got that subtotal number in 2 places in my worksheet. And now I can format that number. It doesn't really look great as an accounting style here, so I'll use the currency style in that cell, and that's how you use a cell reference. So now I'm going to add some conditional formatting to the cell F35, the grand total here. And I want to reward my customers if they spend over $100. So I want this to sort of be an alert for them that says, yay, way to go, you spent over $100, that's awesome. Something like that. So that's our rule, and you can do that with conditional formatting. So I want this to turn out like green. And maybe I could even encourage them to spend over $100 if I put a rule in where it turns red if they don't spend over $100. So to do that, I'm going to choose the conditional formatting drop arrow in our home tab. So if I click on that, it's going to open all these options. I'm going to choose the highlight cell rules one, and then we want the one that's greater than, because we want the greater than $100 option. That's going to open up this greater than dialog box, and then in the number box we want to type in 99 and then choose the color green fill with dark green text, and we'll click OK. So now if the grand total goes over 100, it'll turn green. And we also want to put in if it's less than 100, so we'll choose the less than option this time and choose 100, and then we'll make it red with a dark red text. And then we'll click OK. So now we have 2 rules in that grand total cell. And we can test the rule if we sort of lower the quantity here of this product and press enter. And then if it's below 100, you can see that it turns red. If it goes above 100 again, it turns back to green. So that's kind of cool. So my student had a really great idea that he would put in cell C35 a function that would test whether the customer spent over $100. And then if they did, it would say like, congratulations, you got a free complimentary truffle. And if you didn't, it would encourage them to spend a little bit more. If the if function is new to you, think of it like my son's toddler challenge, where we left him for a minute alone with his cookies and we wanted to see if he would actually eat them. I'll reveal what actually happened in a later video when I explain the if function in further detail, but the logical test would be, is it was able to resist the cookie for over a minute, and the true statement would be yes, the false statement would be no. So those are the 3 things you need for an if function to work. So I'll show you how that works in this example. We'll type equal if and then open bracket into cell C35, and then I'm going to click on this cell because that's the one we want to test. And I'll click the insert function dialog box to pop up my friendly function arguments dialog box. So the logical test is F35, is it greater than 99? Because we want it to be 100 or greater. That's our logical test, okay? And our value, if true, is we want to put a message in there that would congratulate the person and let them know that they were awarded the free truffle. So we'll type in exactly the text that we want. We'll say something like, congratulations, your order is over $100, so you get your free complimentary truffle. And then just always remember, if you're entering text into these boxes, put quotations around it. And then our false statement is we want something to encourage the customer to spend more so that they get that free complimentary truffle. And this is what that message would look like. Remember to put quotations around it and then click OK. And then you see our true statement, but it's hard to see because we have to wrap our text, and then I will also middle align it. So that's our true statement. So the true statement was met. Let's test if it works. So we'll lower this to quantity to 1, and then you'll see that the message actually changes. So now we're encouraging the customer to spend more, and we let them know in the grand total section that they haven't spent over that $100 to get the free truffle. Now I want to create a comments section, so I'll merge and center these cells here, and then I'll type comments and format it with our blue background and white text, and then I will select a range under that. So we'll just merge the cells. We won't center the text because we want the text to be at the top. So I'll choose the merge options and just say merge cells, and I want the text to be in black and the background of that cell to be white. So we could type in comments into our order form. So now I'm feeling like this sheet is a little bit empty, so I'm gonna select all of the non-formatted cells and then give them a little bit of color. So to do that, you'll hold down Control and then just keep selecting everything that's not currently colored in. And I'll choose the style, and this is great because it's gonna change if I change the theme later. So I'm gonna choose the light blue, 40% accent 5, and if I hover my mouse around, you can kind of experiment with these colors, but I'm gonna choose that one, and that looks nice for our order. So for the last part of this custom order sheet that we're gonna do is adding pictures. So I'm gonna click on the Insert tab, go to Pictures, and then we're gonna choose an online picture. And I'm gonna type in chocolate on the online pictures. Now the great thing about online pictures is that you can use the Creative Commons only, which means that you're totally free to use them. And we're gonna insert this chocolate droplet one, and then I'm gonna insert it here. And I'm also gonna copy it over to this section, so we have like kind of a symmetrical version of these. And then I'm also gonna add a picture effect. So if I click on the Picture Format tab, you can add some color, you can change, anything like that. Corrections as well, so that's kind of cool. But I'm gonna add a picture effect called the reflection one, and I'm gonna insert one first. I'm gonna kind of experiment here and use this one. I think the one at the top, the closest one. But I'm gonna actually add a little bit more to that because I don't like how it's not showing kind of like to the tip at the bottom. So I'm gonna go back to the reflection and choose reflection options. And then from here I can increase the size from 50% to 100, so the reflection shows the whole chocolate droplet. And if that was a little bit fast, I'll do it again on the second one on the right here. So Picture Format tab, Picture Effects, we're gonna add the reflection first, and then we're gonna make corrections to that reflection. Reflection options, change it from like 55 to 100, so you can kind of see the whole reflection of the chocolate droplet there. Okay, so we've inserted these other 3 pictures, but you can also change the alignment of them. So I'm gonna move this one behind. I usually do this in PowerPoint, not Excel. So I'm gonna send this picture behind this one, which will make kind of more sense. So I press that twice, and if I click on this picture, I can do the same thing, and I can send it backwards behind another object. So that's just another way to align pictures when you have a few pictures lumped together like you do in this example. So this worksheet was actually inspired by a YouTube channel called Bite and Chew that my friend Sally came up with. So go check out her channel if you want to check out some tutorials on how to bake things. And it's an awesome channel. I'm going to try some of those recipes myself. And thanks to all my Centennial College students for inspiring me to be better at Excel. And in the next video, I'll also answer, did my son pass or fail the toddler challenge? And I'll also show you how to use the if function. So I'll see you in that one. Thanks for watching. Bye.